In South Philly, and we enter the home stretch of the Big East regular season. Villanova in desperate need of a win on their home court, and a big opportunity awaits tonight against number 16 ranked Marquette. We look at the Big East standings. Marquette 2 games out of first place in a tie with Creighton for second place in the conference right now. And Villanova has fallen back to 500 in league play. They are out of a bye for the first round of the Big East tournament after a gut-wrenching loss on Tuesday night to UConn. And we welcome you courtside. Great to be with you. Alex Faust, Donnie Marshall here with you. Marquette safely in the tournament. But to use that word opportunity for Villanova, they've had plenty of opportunities. Can they take advantage of this one tonight?
Things were going the right way. They won 3 in a row. They lost 2 heartbreakers the last 2, but when you come home, you know you have to take care of what's going on in this building. Students are here. They love that. On the other side, for Marquette, the other way, they lost 3 in a row. They won 2. This is an equal opportunity offense for Marquette. This is going to be a contrast of pace. Tortoise or the hare? Who's going to win? We'll see.
We'll see. Eric Dixon, of course, the nation's leading scorer. Starting lineup sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. The matchups on Dixon are going to be fascinating to watch. Marquette has used the same starting 5 all season.
Yeah, I think he's going to see a lot of different looks. But I'm interested to see how David Joplin matches up with Eric Dixon. I think that's the one who the closest defensive probably presence on him tonight will be Joplin, number 23 in blue. It's going to be a fun one to watch. He's still the leading scorer in the country. Yeah,
Joplin, who hasn't missed a single game in his 131-game Marquette career. The 48th meeting all-time between Marquette and Villanova. Marquette has won 8 straight head-to-head against Villanova. Villanova hasn't lost 9 in a row to a single opponent in nearly 75 years. Shaka Smart's Golden Eagles with 20 wins on the season, on their way to a 4th consecutive NCAA tournament. Marquette program that went to the Sweet 16 last year. The results have gotten incrementally better in March for them, with Shaka Smart at the helm, and for Kyle Neptune trying to will this program back to the tournament after back-to-back misses. First time since 2004 that Villanova has missed the tournament in back-to-back years, and they hope it is not 3 in a row. John Gaffney, James Breeding, and Bert Smith, the officials here tonight at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. We jump it up, and the tip is won back by Villanova.
Now, one of the slowest teams in the country in terms of that pace. They will take their opportunities, Villanova, but I think you have to be very aware of where the hands of Stevie Mitchell, number 4 in black. Is that black or dark blue? I'm colorblind. And then number 2, Chase Ross, also, and Joplin.
There's Eric Dixon. You were asking the question at the shoot-around this morning, would they try to feed him on the perimeter or in the post to begin the game?
Yeah, sometimes when he starts on that perimeter, a lot of players, a lot of big-time scorers, when they start on the perimeter and they start with misses, they start to chase. That's such a great sign that he makes that for Nova and Eric Dixon.
Yeah, Joplin off the mark from 3. Boachi, a good box out for the rebound. Brickus feeding Dixon, guarded by Joplin. Here's Wooga Poplar's really come to life in the second half of the season, and a beautiful assist to Boachi.
Yeah, Wooga Poplar obviously understands now that he can score the ball, he can use that athleticism, but the way he makes everyone better is to draw and then dish, and that's what you saw there.
Joplin short from 3. Rebound for Poplar, who is 2nd in the Big East in defensive rebounding entering the day. Poplar guarded by Ben Gold. And there's Brickus driving, floating one for Boachi. Tough catch. Managed to stay in bounds. Shot clock to 5. Poplar kept the handle. Shot clock at 2. Poplar fades away. Comes up empty. Boachi the offensive rebound. Brickus lines it up and knocks it down.
It's been a struggle all season for Marquette trying to control that defensive glass, and there again, you got to put a body on someone. Get back to your fundamentals.
One of the worst defensive rebounding teams in the country as Joplin fights his way to the rack.
And it's a hole in Marquette's game that can be filled. It's not impossible. You just have to, look, you're switching a lot. There's going to be mismatches, but all you need to focus on is the body near you and turn and don't look, but turn and get a body.
Brickus. Villanova out to an 11 7-2 lead.
A three-point line is, I mean, it changes everything mentally, obviously the score, but also how you defend Villanova.
Villanova shooting nearly 40% from three on the season. Out of the corner, Ross feeding the low post, and Stevie Mitchell.
Now, the one thing about Marquette, you're never going to really speed them up or make them play your game. Now, we see Nova making three-pointers. We've seen Marquette take a couple, but they're not going to get into a tit-for-tat, if you will, with Villanova, not on the road.
What a start for the Cats.
Man, this is what makes Wooga Poplar so good, is now his growth, his awareness. I draw one, attract him, and then I dish. And then Brickus is the other, I think, he's the other piece. I don't want to call him a wild card. I would say he's probably the other X factor for Villanova, because, again, if he's commanding his team, if he's running stuff, and now he's comfortable. There's a lot of space between him and Chase Ross, and you can get shots like that. Wow. I mean, Marquette's going to have to close the airspace. Villanova's really too comfortable right now, shooting over the top, making any pass they want with really no pressure.
10-point lead, and we're not even at the under 16. There's Cam Jones, the leading scorer for Marquette, and he throws it away to Poplar.
And if you're Marquette, you just have to weather the storm. This is on the road, 14 points already. We're not even at our first time out.
Brickus with the travel.
And those are plays where you can't have, you're rolling, it takes the air out of the room, out of the ball a little bit. If you're Brickus, keep it simple. You're up 10, now try to get up 12 and then 15, but you know, it'll be interesting to see how they recover when they do turn the ball over, because Marquette will turn you over.
There's a three for Gold. Short.
Gold's really been struggling.
Yeah.
It's allowed other guys off the bench to come in, the Hamiltons, the Parhams, those guys, but he's really been struggling from behind the arc.
And we'll see how quickly Shaka Smart goes to that second unit. Trailing by 10 in the early going. Cam Jones tagged with his first personal here.
And we've illustrated, I think, all year long, you know, no transfers on this Marquette team. Not only does it allow you to, you know, your retention is great, but not only does it allow you to continue to grow your culture, but it also gives you some sense of calm when you're down 10 on the road, to not panic, because you know one another, you trust one another.
A remarkable 47 straight weeks that Marquette has been ranked in the top 25, the 5th longest streak in the country. Dixon, and the ball stripped by Gold. And Dixon with the recovery. And assuming they jump it up, well, it's actually going to be Villanova ball here. But the fans going bananas with the early start for their Wildcats. A 14-4 lead for Villanova. Big East basketball on FS1 is sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Alex Faust, Donnie Marshall here with you. Broad Street, Philadelphia, all the way up to City Hall. Villanova, perfect from three to begin the night. 4 for 4 done.
Yeah, and all assisted. This is what Marquette is dealing with right now. Too much airspace. They're not closing the gaps. There's just too much room for Brickus to stand out there and shoot it. And you got to know, Eric Dixon, I will say, his last 7 games, he's shooting under 28% from three. And really in those 7 games, he only has one 20-point game. So if you're Villanova, that's great to see him start that way, but he needs to get it going. He's shooting 36% from the field. And I think this is that time of year where when the guys who are playing a lot of minutes get late in games, you can see their legs start to go. Physically, they get a little worn. Mentally, they get worn, and to see that young man right there, well, old man, I asked him today who was older. He said I had him by just a couple of years, but to see him get it going early is so important for Villanova.
Dixon was contained against UConn. Wow, into the shot clock, Brickus. 5 for 5 the start for Villanova from deep.
I mean, look at the pressure. Really nice job, not reaching, nothing silly by the defense. Stay in front of guys. But for Marquette, Cam Jones is going to have to get this thing going.
He's off the mark from 3. Villanova is perfect. Marquette 0 for 4.
And again, you gotta weather the storm, but in weathering the storm, there has to be just, Stevie Mitchell is one of the best in the country defensively, on the ball, off the ball. He just slipped there, but Brickus made him pay for it.
Big homecoming for Mitchell. Last time as a college player, he got to come home. He's from Reading, PA. Got like 80 friends and family in attendance tonight. Longino goes up with the left and it rolls off the rim.
I don't think he needed the left, though. You go to your strong hand. You're at the rim. No style points this time of year. It's late February, man. Just put the biscuit in the basket.
Here's the freshman Royce Parham. Scored 10 points in just 11 minutes last meeting against Villanova. First touch for Trey Norman, part of that second unit for Marquette. And he's off the mark from 3. Three-point shooting has been an issue time to time for Marquette this year. And that was perhaps the biggest bugaboo during that 3-game losing streak. Poplar, step back, fade away, short.
And you can live with one of those every 4 or 5 possessions, but it can't be a steady diet of going one-on-one. That's not how Villanova's gotten the lead. Now, you will allow a guy like Poplar to kind of go on his own, but usually late clock. You don't want it that early in the clock. It just gives a really good defensive team in Marquette a chance now to get this thing going a little bit. Make them work.
3.5 minutes since their last point. Chase Ross nearly threw it away. Joplin corrals. Joplin slipped and fell. And it's a goal. Oh, wow! Poplar from the weak side, but I think they're going to count the basket.
I like the activity, though. I do. It tells you that guys are alert. They're involved. They're a little late on the rotation after Perkins fell to the ground. But it tells you guys are alert and on a string.
Going to call the foul on Norman here.
I know you're the hockey guy. On a string means if I pull it, then you come this way, and then the next guy. So you pull the string.
Oh,
just,
so that's how it works.
Yeah. Huh. Probably similar in hockey, I would imagine.
Yeah. Just, Well, to your point about gap control, that's the hockey term for what Marquette is doing right now or not doing.
Right.
Along the perimeter. Dixon driving, cutting, and it rolls off.
And that's what he'll create, because they switch so much that he will have a lot of mismatches. We've seen him already with 3 different defenders on him.
Cam Jones yet to really get involved. Joplin putting it on the deck, and he uses the window.
Great recognition. Joplin's a vet. We talked about it. 131 games he's played in his career. Every game he's been a part of, he's played. And when you see a young guy like Dumont in front of you, you gotta kind of attack the feet, and that's what he does.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the minutes for the young man Jordan Dumont, the redshirt freshman. Wearing number 10 in white. Deep 3, Poplar, in and out. And that's the risk. You start missing a couple of those, and all of a sudden Marquette in a bit of a rhythm. First miss from 3 for Villanova.
Look at that paint. No one in there. The game has changed, especially for Marquette from last year.
Yeah.
Used to seeing Iguodaro in there with those floaters.
That's good defense from Dumont. Poplar looking to run, but he threw it away.
So here you go. 2 missed shots and then a turnover. Now you start to sputter a little bit, but that's a really nice veteran move by David Joplin. Decides, I'm going to put my head down, make them earn it, get to the rim.
His parents are in attendance. Which is actually an unremarkable thing considering all those games you talk about, all 131, they haven't missed a single one.
Have not missed. It's pretty amazing. Lisa and Howard, David, maybe we show them later. I think it's awesome that they have saved every one of his games growing up, whether it was on DVD, maybe VHS. Reminds me of my mom, same thing. I think my mom still shows her friends when they come over.
The whole movies?
Oh, yeah. Probably in black and white, too. She's 8mm.
3 for Demarius Owens, off the mark. Rebound, Perkins slaps it away from Mitchell. Villanova up by 9. Marquette struggling to shoot the rock. High pick from Boachi. And Jordan Longino, who's been shooting it well from 3, navigating the paint, nearly had it knocked away. Dumont, late dish. Perkins.
And got such a beautiful stroke. That young man, that lefty, it's effortless. It really is. You'll see him, too, at times. He'll catch that ball above the Villanova logo on his chest, and he'll shoot it from there. He won't bring it down. It's just a wonderful thing to see, especially for a young player.
The way they describe his usage, it's basically a 6th starter for Villanova. It's not a particularly deep team. And Perkins has been so valuable for them last year, transferring over from Penn. Brickus, way downtown. Oh, my! He hit that from Camden.
Even Kyle Neptune was shaking his head. Wow.
What in the world? Oh. 22-8. And Villanova is 6 of 7 from 3. Goodness. Foul is called here on a 3. But the start from the perimeter for Nova. Breathtaking. And a 22-8 lead. Tomorrow on Fox Primetime Hoops, freshman phenom, player of the year favorite, Cooper Flagg, leading 3rd-ranked Duke into a showdown at Madison Square Garden against Illinois. Our coverage begins tomorrow, 7 Eastern on Fox. What a matchup of these two talented freshmen. Is there any better player in the country, do you think, Donnie, than Cooper Flagg?
You know, there are some real good ones. I mean, there are a lot of really good ones, but he's great.
Yep.
He's not good. He's great. And I think we're seeing it in the beginning of the year. Cooper Flagg was good.
Yeah.
Scoring was the worst of his game. Well, he's figured that part out. He is so special. Boy.
No doubt. Jameer Brickus leading the way for Villanova. 12 points, 4 for 4 from deep.
Yeah, he is kind of he's their X factor. You know, he hits the start button for them. He starts their offense. At times a mismatch issue on the other end when they're not as active, but he's got it going tonight. He's playing with a lot of confidence. I think when you get to this time of year, no matter what year you are, because of this era in basketball, we know how quick it changes and the turnover, unless you're Marquette, but everyone else in the country, you know, I think guys start to realize, I'm running out of time here.
Yep.
Whether it's here, if you have more eligibility, or, you know, in your entire career, and guys tend to play like that when they know they've left something kind of on the table a little bit.
I think the frustration for so many Villanova fans is that sense of urgency, of that they are running out of time to get guys like Dixon and a 5th-year senior like Brickus in the NCAA tournament. You're running out of runway here. And he had a great career at LaSalle, by the way. Congratulations, Fran Dunphy, announcing his retirement.
Legend.
Oh, boy. In this city,
man,
few that are finer. And just an A-plus person. Brickus, shot fake, extra pass, Poplar. And they go back around the horn to Brickus with 6 to shoot. Brickus for Dixon. He'll kick. Poplar a 3. Splash! And it's raining down 3s in South Philly.
That's some beautiful basketball right there. Patient, spread the floor. That was Villanova basketball.
Where will the response come from Marquette? There's Lowry.
Yeah, I think you got to continue to get downhill. You don't want to play 3 for 2 and you know, exchange baskets that way. When Nova's making threes, you're only getting 2s, but you really just have to pick your tempo up if you're Marquette. Closeouts have to be better. Communication has to be better. And then you worry about the other end.
To your question about the tortoise of the hare, Villanova content to use the shot clock, but they're scoring late in the shot clock as Dixon puts it in. Counted and a foul.
And there's a 4th player now. But if we go back, Alex, and you think about, look at the spacing on the floor for Nova. And this is what Shaka Smart talked about as we run it. They're going to space us out. We have to close the gaps. We heard that in shoot-around today. But the fact that Eric Dixon knows he's the leading scorer in the country is going to draw attention, the unselfishness. After he's already he got off to a good start, he finds a guy in the corner. That's just beautiful basketball by Nova.
Coming off a frustrating performance against Connecticut earlier this week. Just 3 for 13 from the field. Converts the and one, and how about this lead for Villanova, up 15.
And UConn went on that 27-6 run the last 9 minutes. Eric Dixon really didn't do anything. He didn't get a chance to touch that ball late, and that's, to me, that's an effect of your players. Your teammates have to say, hey, you got to get it going, big fella.
Dumont got a piece of the attempt from Norman. And a same-team collision. And Dumont keeps the hit. Poplar on the drive. Scoop finish, a little out of control. Ross stolen. Poplar ripped it out of his hands.
Great help. Brickus had Ross in front of him, and Uga Poplar came down to help out and took the candy.
This is the best Villanova has looked in some time. Brickus beating Poplar. Dumont trying to tie up the rebound, and he will get the jump ball. Possession arrow favors Marquette, but the fans applauding the defensive effort off the glass. Villanova off to a tremendous start. A 15-point lead over the number 16 ranked team in the nation. All right, 28-13. Jameer Brickus leading the way for Villanova with 12. Shaka Smart, of course, former head coach of the Texas Longhorns. A bunch of former Longhorn coaches are having pretty good years. Shaka moving back to his home state of Wisconsin. About to put Marquette back in the tournament. Let's go inside the huddle.
That was a step in the right direction because we scrapped out a jump ball and we got possession. Right now, the smallest things matter, guys. The smallest things. Okay? Down there, we have to put more pressure on the rim with cutting and goes. All right, we got 5 guys on the perimeter, which doesn't make the spacing great. We got to put pressure on the rim.
It doesn't make the spacing great, and it also is easier to defend when you got 5 guys standing around the perimeter. There's no one cutting in front of you. There's really no communication has to be had if you're Villanova. You see what's in front of you. The problem is Marquette, like Shaka just said, if you cut now, someone's got to pass you off. There's going to be some confusion defensively. Right now, it's just too easy. Marquette's making it too easy for Nova defensively.
Speaking of communication, I don't know if you could find a bigger contrast between the two teams in terms of the vocal energy level at the morning shoot-around.
Yeah.
Marquette, you want to talk about noise between the music they were pumping and everybody chatting and rah-rah. It was a high-energy shoot-around. It's fun to watch. It's a tight group, to be sure. Ross high off the glass. An experienced one, too, because as you've documented and the story's been told, like, they don't have a single transfer on this roster.
Yeah, 8 different lineups in 3 years, starting lineups in 3 seasons. That's pretty special. I mean, it's not just a testament to retaining guys, but also the health of guys, you know?
Dumont coming off double hip surgery.
Probably not even 20 years old.
Right.
That's unheard of.
Redshirt freshman from Montreal. Went to high school in Tennessee. On track for a season high in minutes as the misses continue for Marquette. Now 0 for 7 from deep. Think they're settling, Donnie, still?
You know, I think that's how they play, but it's fine when you're in a tighter game. You know, it's a closer game. Those shots are okay, but you have to be a little bit more deliberate and a little bit more aware when you're down big like this, on the road especially.
Dumont hits a 3.
And I love this about Kyle Neptune. He's coaching Boakye. He doesn't care that it's a huge lead. He's coaching. He knows that it's about more than just right now. And that is just, you want your young guys, Perkins, Dumont, come in and be aggressive. And that's exactly what you have to do against a Marquette team that loves getting their hands in the passing lanes. They love deflections. Take all that out, catch and shoot if you got space.
We've talked about the importance for Villanova to build their resume, but also the importance of avoiding a Wednesday game at the Big East tournament. You take a look at the NCAA tournament projections according to Mike DeCourcy. Villanova would also be part of the group of teams invited to the Crown, new event for us here at Fox Sports in the postseason. But they're trying to put themselves in a quarterfinal situation to get that bye in New York and, you know, put themselves on a glide path if they can at the Big East tournament.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of teams. And you could say this about a lot of good shooting teams. There aren't a lot of teams that could beat Villanova if they're playing like this. That's an obvious statement. They're 9 of 11 from 3. You're not really beating anyone if that continues, or no one's beating you if that continues. But for Marquette, number 1 has to get it going like you see there. And they just, again, weather the storm. That's their first 3 of the game. They've taken 8 of them. And the unfortunate part for Marquette is February has not been great. They're shooting 30% from 3, and they're going to try to shoot about 27 to 30 of them. So
they take more threes than any other team in the conference.
Yeah, that number's going to have to be much better to get back, not just win, but get back into this game.
On Gino to Boakye, walled up by Gold, and he fights his way through it. We'll see if Cam Jones gets going. His first points of the night. Hitting a 3 on this end moments ago. Gold off the mark. Lowry the rebound and the putback.
Yeah, really nice work on the offensive glass. Now, the deficiencies they have on the defensive glass, it really doesn't affect them on the offense. They're much better on the offensive glass, Marquette, and they're going to need more of that, obviously. And it'll be there with the switches, mismatches, they'll be there.
Gino off the mark. Marquette -4 on the glass to start. They've out-rebounded their opponent in 3 straight coming in. Looking for their 3rd straight win. This pass too hot to handle for Ross. Perkins on the run out, and he can't convert. That's a second effort from Perkins to try to pop the ball free, and he's whistled for the foul.
I feel like there have been about 3 or 4 passes. I shouldn't even say passes. Throws from one black jersey to another black jersey, and there's a difference. And I've talked about this a lot, and that's a nice job by Boakye, just standing in there, keeping it simple. Gold a little late coming over and might have hit him on the wrist. I want to add injury to insult. The refs are letting them play through that. But for Marquette, you got to be cleaner, and you have to pass the ball. You can't throw it to a teammate, and that means when you pass it, it goes to a teammate that he can do something with it. He can shoot it. He can drive it. He can jab and shoot it. And that came from Cam Jones. The other guys have to pass the ball. Don't just throw it.
Ross, who's the best 3-point shooter on the team, knocks one down.
When you're Marquette, weather the storm. If you can get this thing to single digits by halftime, you're in good shape. We know Villanova, what happened to them against UConn being up 14, and couldn't close it out.
We also haven't seen a lot of those. They're so good at creating deflections. And the top team in the Big East creating steals. That'll rattle in and out. What a terrible roll on the road. Villanova by 13. Dixon a push-off. That's an offensive foul. And he's going to plead his case, but to no avail.
And things starting to turn a little bit for Marquette, possibly. Ross, bang, bang. Gonna need more of those.
Rob Stone with you. Coming up on the Jeep Halftime Report, we'll look ahead to tomorrow's Fox primetime matchup between number 3 Duke and Illinois, and you'll hear from their Player of the Year candidate, Cooper Flagg, plus Ivy League leaders Yale taking on Cornell. Alex, Donnie, we'll see you at the break.
All right, Rob, we'll see you in just a bit. 13-point lead for Villanova over Marquette. We mentioned that Marquette pretty solidly in the tournament, though with the reveal and the preview that the committee issued last week with their top 16 seeds, not among them St. John's, the highest ranked Big East team of the ones that they revealed last week. And of course, running away with the Big East regular season. 23 wins for the Johnnies, the most in a quarter century for that program.
It's pretty fun to watch. It's fun to watch at MSG.
Yeah.
When you see the fans who have been waiting and waiting for their team to be what they are now, there's no environment that even comes close to matching that.
How about Sunday's matchup?
Well, yeah.
Your Huskies. Yeah. That'll be a fun one.
You got to remember, you know, they called MSG Stores South for a long time, and the Johnnies are like, not anymore.
And there are question marks with R.J. Lewis, his groin injury, and Kadari Richmond, who hasn't been 100%, but you wouldn't know it.
Well, listen, if you're 100% this time of year, you haven't been playing. So that's not a bad thing.
Parham, strong take. And the freshman from Pittsburgh with the flush.
And that's just probably what they needed, you know, infused with some energy. Building's quiet now, and next thing you know, it's, you know, you're kind of right back in this if you think about it.
7-0 run for Marquette, and a little bump from Owens.
Yeah, really nice job to leave by Jones, and then Parham. That's when I would like him to hold on to it a little bit, just so you're not, you don't hurt yourself there. But that play has been there. They've had a couple of those downhillers, and I think Villanova's doing a nice job on the ball, and they're so concerned about those three-point shots that there really hasn't been a ton of help. And if you pull Eric Dixon out, he's on the perimeter, there's no one in the paint for Villanova to contest a shot with any size.
7-0 run for Marquette. Trying to whittle this down to single digits. Parham nearly got the denial. As this is corralled by Dixon. Somehow they saved that possession out of what could have been a messy giveaway.
Yeah, you catch that ball in the corner against Marquette, it's usually lights out. Look at that D.
Poplar guarded behind the arc by Ross. Wow. Missed everything.
That was wonderful by Cam Jones, just standing the guy up, putting his chest in there. He was guarding Eric Dixon. That was an offensive foul.
Might be the best defensive possession for Marquette tonight. Bam. There's Jones.
And I think they need more of that. I know people have talked about his three-point shooting is down, but everything else is up. You know, you have to remember this guy, he's in a different role. No Oso, no Kolek. No, those guys really helped Cam Jones hide a little bit and become just a scorer. He's an all-around player this season.
Dumont, the freshman, feeling it. Limited minutes this season, but he's now 3 for 3 from deep. Jones unable to answer. And Ross with an offensive rebound.
Cam Jones wanted a foul there. I think he was expecting it.
Under 2 minutes to play in the half. Lowry lines up a three.
That's a nice shot for Zayd Lowry. His feet were set, and that's the difference. So there were a couple. Parham had one. Even Cam Jones earlier, their feet weren't quite set. They looked in a hurry, and next thing you know, there's those single digits we talked about. Weather the storm. It's important on the road.
Dixon tangled together with Lowry, who's been getting a lot more play off the bench for Marquette lately. 20-plus minutes in 3 of his last 4 games.
Then you got to remember, they haven't been shooting it well in February, so to see them start, 4 of 13, it kind of goes with what's been happening at 30%. But, to see one go in, it just mentally opens up your mind a little bit, makes you play a little bit more free, especially when you dig into the big lead that they got themselves in.
Well, the proof is in that. 4 for their last 5. Dixon fouled on a 3. Late close down, and it might be costly.
Well, there are a couple of reasons Marquette has gotten themselves into this spot, and it's been late closing out. But then here, you got to understand, a three-point shooter, and again, Eric Dixon hasn't been shooting it well, so you don't want to help him. Contest late, let him land, just put a hand up. We were always taught, if you're late, just put a hand in their face, almost block their vision to the hoop, which is legal as long as you don't touch them. But that hurts you because you fought to get back into this game. Still a minute and a half in the half, but oh man.
And just that quickly,
wow.
Marquette looks all out of sorts again.
Well, someone's got to show up in the middle of the floor, and it can't just be Cam Jones and Ross going back and forth. Someone's got to flash to the middle, into that logo area between the circles, I like to call it. Get to the middle, it alleviates all that pressure.
Second turnover for Ross. Dixon tried to turn the corner against Joplin. They call foul here. Going to call it on Lowry away from the ball. And Villanova in the bonus, so 1-1 here for Dixon.
And this is the game that I think people have been wanting to see. I mentioned it in his last 7. He's only been in the 20s. Scored over 20 points one time, Eric Dixon. So you can tell maybe he's getting a little worn down, missing free throws, which is really unlike him.
84% free throw shooter. That was way off.
He sees a lot of different matchups. They throw a lot of stuff at him. So you can understand if he gets a little gassed at times.
Extra pass, Ross to Lowry, and he rolls it in.
You see that again. You move guys around when you cut, and they're late to pick you up. It's happened a few times.
Brickus, he's hit a couple of deep ones tonight. Add that to the ledger. Timeout called. And the lead back to 13 for Villanova.
And this is just great individual basketball right here. Step back. I mean, that step back is like 4 feet. That's not a little short, jabby step back, and he's got it going, feeling really good about himself, and that's big for Nova. You understand Poplar, Dixon, Longino. They're gonna help you and do whatever they have to do. But to see a guy who averages 9 and 15 in the first half, and it's your point guard. Wow, I mean, that gives you confidence. And, by the way, it helps you be up 13 points.
Yeah. You know what also helps, and this has been a big knock on Villanova all year, their depth hasn't been great. How about Jordan Dumont, who Kyle Neptune told us was going to get some play here tonight, working on a career high in minutes, and he's knocked in 3 triples.
Yeah, that's that added bonus that you would like to see. You can't expect it if you're Kyle Neptune, but to see it, again, these are games that they need. They can't drop anymore after those last 2 especially. They've won some good games this season. The last couple they dropped, it makes these games so much more important.
Big win over St. John's on February 12th. Open the door again for Villanova for at-large candidacy, but can they build on it?
Well, they beat them. They were number 9. They beat UConn earlier in the season, who was number 9 at the time.
6 to shoot. 6-second differential. Parham. Tough look. Poplar with time. He'll race up court with Brickus. Brickus! Tough take. Dixon unable to follow it. But it's a 13-point lead for Villanova at the half.
And you talk about shooting 59%. That's how you come out on your home court and send a message.
12 threes for Villanova in the first half. And a double-digit lead looking for another quality win. We'll send you to the studio with Rob Stone and Casey Jacobson. The Jeep halftime report is right after this. Fans enjoying it here in South Philly. First half stat comparison sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Villanova shooting 57% from the floor. 12 of 15 from 3. I like how you termed it, Donnie, that it's probably unsustainable. So second half here, what are you thinking here? Villanova, hey, just a couple days ago, they blew a 14-point lead to UConn. What are you thinking here for these Cats?
Well, I think both teams are thinking about that right now. But for Villanova, if you stress the positives, it's all about Jameer Brickus. He had a half for a career. He really did, at least for the last 5 games. The last 5 games, he's 4 of 12 from 3. He's made 5 already today. 20 total points. 20 in his last 5 games. And already he's at 15. So we'll see if Marquette can close those gaps. Maybe I think they're over switching Marquette when they don't really need to, almost switching to just to switch, change the looks. I think they got to stay home longer and close those gaps.
You can't do it much better than Villanova did in the first half from behind the arc. But can they close out? This would be a huge win for their resume as they try to get back from the tournament bubble. Brickus off the mark there.
And that's what usually happens when you're hot. You don't want to go in the locker room at halftime. You want to stay out there and continue to play.
Villanova 4-7 since January 10th. After a really good run to close out non-conference, winning 8 of 9. Cam Jones was hovering behind the line. And a foul is called here on Brickus.
I think there's got to be more of that, too, for Marquette. You have some good guys who can get downhill. If you got wide open shots, you got to take it. But continue to put the pressure on Villanova defensively and see how they guard you.
Joplin with room. Offensive rebound, the putback, and the foul. Chase Ross, a big play to open the second half.
Again, they do a really nice job on the offensive glass. Doesn't always translate for them on the defensive glass, but that's how you start a half. That's just great work by Ross. Just hanging around, being engaged. They call those EGBs, that energy generating behavior. Shaka Smart always talks about. That's one of them where you go get an extra effort play, dive on the floor for a loose ball, a putback. They need more of those this half.
Stevie Mitchell, one of the top defenders in the Big East, on Brickus. Dixon guarded tightly by Joplin. He'll back it out. 6 to shoot. Poplar puts it on the deck with 2. Poplar, hop step, and he puts it in.
Man, that's really, really good offensive play there by Poplar. Really good defense. Again, is that sustainable? You know, if you want guys who can get shots late in the clock, which is great, but already 2 possessions we've seen Marquette's changed a little bit, a little more under duress. That's a big-time shot, though. The hop step, the hop step, his toes were facing the bench, and then he elevates, and now his shoulders are square to the basket. That's athleticism. Again, we've talked about him being a guy who started playing when he was 16.
Right.
Guy after my own heart. Start late. Got to learn fast.
He started his sophomore year of high school, and Marquette has had a couple of turnovers where it just seems like the guys were not on the same page. This is a team that only averages 9 per game, the best mark in the Big East, third best mark in the nation. And Joplin staying with Dixon. They're going to call a foul away from the ball here.
They're going the other way.
Yep, offensive foul. Poplar with his second, and already the 4th foul of the half for Villanova. Pressure up court from Villanova as Jones crosses the timing line.
When you are digging yourself out of a hole, anything helps, especially the fouls.
Wow! Cam Jones. What a take. Came into the day slipping just a little bit in the scoring ranks in the Big East, but still among the league's elite. Dixon swings it back out. Brickus extra pass, Longino got it.
That's such a good play by Brickus. Know he's got it going. He's hot. That showed some leadership right there. Just a very smart play.
Gold answers for Marquette.
They need Ben Gold to knock down some shots for them. He's got to be that stretch 5, if you will, in this lineup.
Ben Gold, junior from New Zealand. Brickus leading the way for Villanova with 15 points. Dixon with 13. Poked away by Ross, and Dixon saves it. Shot clock at 6. Poplar, a frozen rope 3-point attempt. The rebound for Marquette. Jones, nice pass. Gold couldn't finish.
But they got what they wanted, the pick, the slip. Ben Gold a little sped up, probably could have brought it down, taken his time with that. But sometimes you go for those quick hitters when you know you've cut into the lead a little bit.
Dixon dealing with Joplin at the underside of the rim. Shot clock does not reset. Poplar the drive, lost the handle. I think Gold got his hand to it. And another strong defensive possession for Marquette.
Now they came out at halftime, out of that locker room, in a better stance. I thought their communication already just in 4 minutes has been so much better. They've closed those gaps like we talked about, and they've stayed in front of guys. And more importantly, they've stayed down on Eric Dixon. When he gets you down low, he goes with the pump fakes. He gets a lot of guys in foul trouble that way.
Jones calls his own number, comes up short, tap out from Gold, and Joplin resets. Mitchell back to Joplin, a 3, shorts. Longino will bring it up. I'm curious, given the hot start from 3 for Villanova. It's kind of out of character for Marquette, the way they've guarded the arc. No team's been better since the start of conference play in the Big East. Tighter gap on Longino this time, and a reach-in foul is called.
Well, Marquette trying to get back into this game. It's going to have to come from their leader. He does it all for them. He's going to have to do more of that. No call, played through it, finished strong. And here, this unselfish play by Brickus finding Longino. And then Ben Gold. It's raining threes. I want to play in this game.
Fox Sports is proud to present a new postseason tournament, the College Basketball Crown. 16 teams from the top conferences put all on the line for a new kind of madness. Coming this March, live from Las Vegas, only on Fox. You can buy tickets now in the Vivid Seats app or at vividseats.com. Big East will have 2 representatives there. Xavier, one of the next 4 out. According to Mike DeCourcy, they've been kind of hovering around the bubble of the NCAA tournament all year. Zach Fremantle's come back to be their leading scorer has been a great story. They play Seton Hall on Sunday. Take a look at the resume here for Villanova. We've talked about the St. John's game, the UConn game earlier this season. That Cincinnati win doesn't look as good as it did at the time. And then maybe those bottom 2 and the key losses are pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the league, but when you have, I think it's the way they've lost are those that really hurt you. You know, obviously.
And you circled that Providence one.
Yeah, man. I think that's a killer. You're up 8 with about 4 to play. Again, it's a league game, so maybe you can understand it. If I'm a Wildcat, what disturbs me more is to be up 14 and you really had UConn really dead to rights and you can't finish that one. That one hurts. Again, you're on the road. It's a league game, but still, those are games that Nova should have won.
And yet, here they are with a double-digit lead on Marquette. Brickus, who's having himself a night. Struggled to score coming in, but feeling it early from deep. Joplin. Rebound, Lowry unable to track it down. That was actually Brickus' first 2 of the night.
And only their 6th in the paint, Villanova.
Extra pass to Dixon. No. And a foul is called. This is the first layup for Villanova in the game.
I mean, that is just too easy, but again, the gaps are too wide. That's actually their sixth point in the paint. So out of 53, so it tells you where they've been scoring from. We've illustrated that, but that's where Marquette can't forget about guarding in and then going out, but that's really unacceptable for a good defensive team like Marquette.
Pressure on Dixon from Joplin. Trying to make Dixon go up with the left. And he did. It rolled off the rim. Boachi pulls down the offensive rebound. Dumont. And he's fouled.
Well, they're fortunate. I think it probably should have been a goaltend. You know, you grab on the net anywhere around there and that ball's up there, that's an automatic goaltend. I'm not sure why that wasn't called, but fortunately, things are going Villanova's way, so play on, and now Dumont's fouled in the corner.
Lowry with his 3rd. Villanova, of course, one of the top free throw shooting teams year after year.
Yeah.
Jordan Dumont had a season-high 14 minutes against Creighton back on February 1st. 11 here tonight. And if he's an added option down the stretch for Villanova, that is an injection of depth scoring they could desperately use.
And also, you have to, you know, at this time you have to coach to win. It's always what you're coaching for, but you have to also coach for retention. You know, young guys are so important, especially when you have veterans who are leaving. I think Shaka Smart's going to see that situation as well. When a lot of your leaders leave, now what do you do?
Jones off the mark, rebound Perkins. 15-point lead for Villanova. They've led by as much as 19 tonight. Skips to Dumont. They run the shot clock down again. Longino guarded by Parham, and he's bailed out.
Smart play. That's a veteran on a young player. That's all that is. I mean, it's a veteran move. He feels the pressure, looks up at the shot clock. So smart by Longino because he really had no place to go. Smart.
And because it's a shooting motion, it's going to be 3 free throws.
Longino, that shoot around too, we asked him. I think I only have a couple years on him as well. He's been here a long time, man.
But the thing is, it's only a couple of guys, Longino and Dixon. And it's so weird to see Villanova only to have a small portion of the roster that's been here more than 3 years.
Yeah, times are changing. Times have changed.
And this was an offseason rebuild that was really tough for Kyle Neptune. They only had 8 scholarship players on the roster as late as May 27th. Brought in 3 upperclassmen transfers to try to complement Longino and Dixon.
And Kyle Neptune has had to not only navigate waters where people expect him to be Jay Wright, but also trying to figure out put his fingerprint on the game, and then in a transactional era of college basketball to throw that in the pot to make it that much more challenging for Kyle Neptune and his staff. It's not easy.
Well, that's why Marquette, it's so unique what they're doing in terms of roster continuity. Dixon, with Joplin all over him.
Boy, he's really grinding. He's trying so hard. And they're doing a nice job, Marquette, of not fouling Eric Dixon because his bread and butter is back you down, get into your chest with his strength, and then he gets you up in the air. And defensively, Joplin, you and I had talked about that off air. That was the matchup that I was looking forward to seeing. Not only how will Dixon adapt to playing against multiple defenders, but also how Joplin will guard him. He's done a nice job.
Lowry unable to finish against Dixon. Perkins the rebound. Villanova still shooting 50% from the floor. Dixon goes up, and he'll head to the line.
There's a great example of Marquette really not being a cohesive unit defensively. Cam Jones and David Joplin came together. Not sure if they thought it was a switch or not. Now Cam catches up to Dixon late. He reaches, puts pressure on the guys behind, fouled Dixon at the foul line. So it's kind of a constant thing that Marquette, I don't know if Nova's putting them in that position. I think it's just Marquette is just a step slow and maybe a little bit slow in their communication.
Marquette going back to their bench. We haven't seen too much of their second unit get in on the act here tonight. Shaka Smart has said they've been better than the first sometimes in practice, winning those competitive games they set up.
He's going to need that now, and especially when Cam Jones has gone to the bench. We're talking about a guy who plays 33 minutes a game, and I don't think we'll see him over there long, but where does their leadership come from and their ball handling with this unit?
Eric Dixon on the bench here for Villanova. Parham blocks. Perkins got a hand to it. And the shot clock inadvertently reset. So they'll have to just double check the clock here and get that right for a reset. Somebody was a little trigger happy on the scorer's table. I'm just looking down at this score here, 61-43 still with 12 and a half to go, and you know, again, maybe I'm going to the wrong place here if you're a Villanova fan, but like, can they close here? Let's take a look at the shot clock here.
No, they're playing at the pace they want to play at right now. These stoppages actually help Villanova with that lead.
And they're going to take the under 12 here while they get things reset. Villanova up big. Big East basketball on FS1 is sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Philadelphia, PA, chilly night. Villanova, though, hot from deep. Villanova royalty in the house. Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Sixers point guard. Sitting front row.
Beautifully long career, man.
Yeah.
Boy.
I was just looking up because I had to do a double take. 19 years now
awesome.
in the association.
Woo. He was on a good team with Alan Ray and Randy Foy. That was a really good Villanova team. I called some of those games. That's how. Wow. Wow. I should have said that before you said how many years he played in the league. Goodness gracious.
So now I'm questioning when you were talking about, oh, I've only got a couple of years on it.
I know.
Math is not mathing there.
No, it's not.
So Marquette, after they get the clock correct, will retain possession here. But it's an 18-point deficit for the Golden Eagles on the road. Parham and Joplin with 5 to shoot. Joplin in trouble. Joplin, tough shot, and it rolls up the rim. Tap back out to Lowry. And Ross down the lane. Oh, boy, did he hit the deck hard. And he is in discomfort. He's going to try to join the play here. That was a hard fall. And on the other end, adding insult to injury, it's Longino and the largest lead of the night for Villanova.
You know, it's not just about Marquette missing shots. Villanova is up into guys. They have done a really nice job from the start of this game. I get it. Making shots gives you a little bit more confidence. But that's straight up. I mean, I consider that really good defense. Watch you go straight up, arms straight up. But the defense, including that play, has been stellar for the Wildcats all night long, and that's been the difference.
This is the second biggest deficit that Marquette has faced all season. Parham off the mark. It also helps that Villanova, like you said, it's one thing to have your game plan and execute it at a certain level, but 70% on three-point shooting.
The other problem, too, for Marquette is it's just one of those nights. And obviously there's 11 and a half to play, but the 50-50 balls are going out of bounds off of them. They make a three as John Gaffney blows the whistle because there was a problem with the shot clock. I mean, I've been in those games. It's just what it is. And you got to try to continue to fight. But I mean, Villanova's got to go, and sometimes you have to understand that and not get too down on yourself.
Dexton goes up with a left. I think that's where Marquette, actually, to your point earlier this morning, has been great this year of not letting, in that 3-game slide, it did not build from there. That's what happens when you have a veteran team. Cam Jones, haven't called his name a lot here tonight. Lowry, second chance. And he drives to the rim.
The thing I love about Cam Jones is he's always positive. I mean, they're down big, and he's still clapping and cheering on his teammates. No one's going to dap their teammates up more than Cam Jones. I promise. No one in America is dapping people up more than Cam Jones, no matter what the score is. You love that in a leader.
I mean, he's now basically the team's cheerleader since Kolek's not there.
He's got a lot of there's a lot of hats for this Marquette team, Cam Jones.
Yep. Joplin. And there's a follow dunk for Owens, the freshman. Timeout is called. But those moments have been few and far between. Villanova has led by as many as 23.
Now look, there have been a couple of grace notes for Marquette. They're continuing to work hard. Offensive rebound and a putback. And you said it, this is with emphasis, but the Wildcats tough at home tonight.
The fastest racing on earth is coming to Fox. The 2025 IndyCar season gets underway in St. Pete, Florida. The first stop on the road to the Indy 500. March 2nd, live on Fox. I'm still trying to figure out the whole banana thing going on
Take
here.
that.
But you know what? When everything's going in for you, maybe it is one of those bananas nights.
Too ripe. They're too ripe. Everyone knows when there's brown on it, that's where the sugar comes out. That's the sweetness.
That's for banana bread.
Oh, let me tell you. My mom makes world-class banana bread.
And you haven't shared?
She ships it from Seattle out to Connecticut. Still.
Really?
Yes. That box gets open, it's gone in about an hour.
So when we're doing the UConn game next week?
None for you, sorry. Nope. You can get in the back seat like you were earlier today when I took you to your hotel. This guy got in the back seat like I'm Uber. I'm like, what are you doing?
No comment.
The backseat driver next to me over here. Oh man, great. No banana bread for you, man.
Lowry hits a three.
Look, you got 9.5 minutes. I'm an optimist, man. Now, if you're Villanova, you're not in a hurry. Look, you work that clock down. You take care of the basketball. You can get out of here. But Marquette is going to continue to force the issue. They're going to stay up in the guys, and they have to go early in the clock. Wow, he went for it.
Yeah. Poplar here. And that's popped away, but right to the waiting hands of Perkins.
It was a knuckleball.
Yeah.
Knuckleball. Didn't really come off his fingers the right way, but when you make a couple jump shots, you see what can happen for Jameer Brickus. I mean, that was some shot fake.
Brickus, he's had quite the night. Kick to Longino, in and out. Poplar got a hand to it, and Caden Hamilton, on his backside, comes away with a rebound.
I got to talk to Kyle Neptune about that vertical over there. He's up and jumping and telling guys to get back. He is active over there. That's why he's so skinny.
Is there a late rally in these Golden Eagles? Ross knocks down a three. Back-to-back trays for Marquette, and the lead is down to 13. And again, you hate to bring it up for Villanova. They've had trouble closing games this year.
Look, I don't know how many people are in here, 15,000. They're all thinking the same thing. They're recalling that UConn game. I mean, this is, again, you got to play to win. Keep your foot on the gas if you're Villanova. And this is when you know things are starting to turn, when you get a rebound from your fanny. And Hamilton to Ross downtown. Got a game, folks. Hope you haven't gone anywhere. Finish a good one.
We talked about Marquette being comfortably in the tournament with 5 quad 1 wins. They've beaten Wisconsin, they've beaten Purdue. True road win against Maryland. Really good team. Their worst loss, and I wouldn't even call it a bad one necessarily, is that Dayton game over there. So Mike DeCourcy has them as a 5 seed right now. Let's go inside the Marquette huddle.
If you guys want to fight and go after this next round, we can win this game. All right? But the reality is the margin for error is not that big. So we can't make mental mistakes and fouling three-point shooters. We can't leave our feet first. We can't not get loose balls. They have to be ours.
To say that the crumbs of hope are getting smaller is what he's saying. So you can't make mistakes this last, and the war is the next 4 minutes, and then it'll be the next 4 after that. When you hear coaches say, some coaches say that win this war, that's the next 4 minutes till you get to that next time out. And look, they have momentum right now. It'll be interesting to see how Villanova navigates this. The back of your mind, you're up 14 against UConn, 9 minutes to play, 27-6 run. Similar circumstance here. Can they hold on?
Longino is fouled by Jones.
Initially, it was good D. As soon as you put your hands in, though, Alex, that's when it's not. If you can keep them up. But Longino is, again, you got 2 veterans there grappling. But Longino knows if I can get you to stick a hand in that cookie jar, it's a wrap.
And bear this in mind, that was the last foul Marquette had to give. So Villanova in the bonus the rest of the way.
Got to be clean with your defense, especially your individual defense if you're a Marquette.
Poplar way downtown, off the mark. Lowry pulls down the rebound. Big time elevation.
Yeah, that was a beautiful rebound there. And they need it again. That team that struggles defensively rebounding.
Owens, no. One and done trip for the Golden Eagles.
Again, I know it's an equal opportunity offense for Marquette, but I would love, if I'm a Marquette fan, to see a steady diet of Cam Jones this last 7.5, whether he's scoring, facilitating. I don't want him giving the ball up that easily. I want him to probe a little bit, find guys, or find his own points. Here we go.
Another foul late in the shot clock. Villanova, a scoring drought approaching 3.5 minutes. Caden Hamilton called for the foul, and that sends Dixon to the line for a 1-and-1. Those 12 first half threes allowed Villanova to balloon the lead early. Marquette trailed by as many as 23.
Most of that is the defense has gotten better from Marquette. But, you know, when you lose games like Villanova has, you learn. You know, when you win, we go get ice cream, everyone's celebrating. You don't talk much about anything other than the W. When you lose, now you critique, you break stuff down. Why did we lose? How did we lose? And I think a huge part of that UConn loss was not a lot of Eric Dixon down the stretch. And look, he's your stud. You have to, just like Marquette has to get touches for Cam Jones, as many as possible, and keep it in his hands, Villanova has to do the same with Eric Dixon.
Dixon hits them both at the line. Back to 15, right on cue. There's Jones, and he couldn't get the roll.
Yeah, that's one where you almost want to lay it up. I know you're at the front, but you want to lay it up off the backboard almost, just to get some extra height on it. When you see them converging defensively, that was a big miss.
Now just peering up at that clock as well. You know, a couple of fouls late in the shot clock. It's down to 6:44. Nakboachi will check out for Villanova. A little smaller here. Dumont back in. Parham off the bench for Marquette to spell Lowry, who's the leading scorer for Marquette. Dixon elevating to grab the inbound with 7 to shoot. Dixon gets by Hamilton, swings it to Dumont. Got it from 3. A big one for the freshman. What a night. A career high in scoring. 4 for 4 from deep for Jordan Dumont.
And Villanova is finding a star for their future. We talked about a double hip surgery, just unheard of for a guy his age, but not affected by it now, healthy. And boy, what a beautiful stroke, especially for a guy that size. I mean, that is such a luxury. When you're his size, that length, can be so interchangeable, knocking down big-time shots.
Saw that. 14 total points in his 12 collegiate games. He has 15 tonight, and a steal out of the inbound for Poplar. Look out here. Way off, but there's Perkins for the rebound. And he's trying to draw a foul. He does.
Yeah, just a really bad shot. I mean, I'm not sure. Look, I get it. You're up 18, but I don't understand the shot by Poplar. Maybe it was, hey, we're up and I can take this. But this time of year, you work so hard to gain the trust of not just your teammates, but your coaches.
Yep.
That's not a very trustworthy shot. I don't care what the score is.
Right.
And, by the way, and I'm sure they're going to have a conversation at some point, you just made a huge play. You made a Marquette-style play by poking it away and then now coming down with the steal. But Perkins bails you out, and they play on. Just a head-scratcher to me. Even with a big lead, it's a head-scratcher to me.
Lowry With 14, make it 17 on the night. He's perfect from deep. 3 for 3 from behind the arc. And a timeout is called.
What a perfect extending guys out on that left side by Cam Jones. Does a nice job going to a strong hand. And the pass back to the top. I mean, the rotation on that ball, on that pass, and it was a pass. It wasn't a throw like they did in the first half. Take a look here, Alex. You draw two, and that ball hit him right in the hands. He brings it down and knocks that thing down. It's just the delivery is what set that shot up for Lowry that you mentioned. He's their leading scorer tonight with 17 points, 3 of 3 from three-point range.
And again, a reminder of what's at stake here for Villanova, who've lost 5 of their last 8 coming in and back-to-back. Trying to get that first round bye at the Big East tournament, but you know, even bigger picture than that, putting themselves back on the tournament bubble if they can get this win tonight.
Yeah, I call that mid-table for all you soccer fans. I love my soccer.
Yeah.
Premier League, but mid-table is pretty tough there with Nova and Xavier and even Georgetown.
They're going to be a tricky out.
Yeah. I mean, it's serious in the middle. Some big-time talent in that mid-table area.
And St. John's top of the table, but there's a lot of action behind him. By the way, Xavier in 5th. I was surprised to see this. Since the start of conference play, they lead the Big East in offensive production. Dixon.
He is a load, man.
Yep.
He is strong and just so skilled. Cut him off at the top, and he's done a nice job developing that ball handling.
Feels like a quiet 21 tonight.
Yeah, it does. I think because of the big threes early and the first half that Jameer Brickus had. Forget, oh, by the way, we got the leading scorer in the country here, and really only his second 20-point game in his last 8. Which I know that's, look, you're nitpicking, but this is the leading scorer in the country. That's why we keep bringing it up.
And if this Villanova team is to make a late run here, as Boakye goes after a loose ball, and this will go back to Villanova. Another hustle play from the Wildcats, who really flipped the script from the get-go here tonight.
I really think Villanova has beaten Marquette at their own game tonight. The pokeaways, the deflections. Look, low man wins. And look who's on the floor first. You could argue if you're Marquette, that's a foul. He rolled up the back, but the point is the extra effort plays have been in the favor of Villanova from the start of this game.
There's a big block for Owens on Brickus. But just to finish that point on Villanova, like there's still plenty of runway on their season, and especially with the Big East tournament looming. Because of how you find quality opponents night after night in this league. But here's the thing. You got 3 to finish in Seton Hall, Butler, Georgetown. Can't drop any of those. There's zero margin for error left if they are to try and will their way to the tournament.
You got me.
You explain what we just heard.
I guess a lot of the refs talk a lot of trash to me sitting over here, which I don't think is fair. I know I talked a lot of trash to them when I played.
Yeah, you instigated it.
I mean,
it's Dixon again. I think we heard a both teams delay of game warning. Was that the chirp?
Delay of game on the refs. How about that?
Yeah.
John Gaffney first. Delay of game on him. And then oh, man.
Been a clean night, though, for these guys.
They've done a nice job.
Yep. Trey Norman the foul, and Villanova will head back to the line. I don't think you could have seen this coming here tonight. The way that Villanova played their last 2. With an opportunity to get this back to 20.
Did you mention the refs? They hate when they're mentioned, so I'm going to mention them. Bert Smith, James Breeding, and the Gaffney guy out there. I can talk trash about John because his family's with him, so they can't hear this broadcast. So they can't hear the disparaging words I have for John Gaffney.
You two were chumming it up before the game. What are you talking?
That's my guy. That's my guy.
Boakye at the stripe here. His minutes have kind of dwindled the last few games for Villanova, but he's another guy they're going to need to play more consistently down the stretch.
Yeah, they've given him opportunities. He does take up a lot of space, and a guy like Boakye, he's only as good as his teammates allow him to be, meaning if they get him involved and if they drop the ball off, we saw it earlier from Brickus, one play early in the first half. I mean, he can help you.
Lowry's had a heck of a night. That's a career high for him now. 20 points. With some family in attendance.
I like this. Look at that shot clock. Already down to 14.
Dixon. And just trying to add to his total. There's a foul. 3:47 to go. Villanova by 18 over Marquette. (77-59). Villanova going to get back in the win column after back-to-back losses. This would be a big one. And although we didn't call his name a ton here tonight, Eric Dixon, a couple of those threes early, but we've seen all the tools in his toolkit tonight.
And I think he needed this as much as Villanova needed this win. I think Eric Dixon probably needed a big game to go along with the win. Only after about 16 his last 3 games and hadn't been shooting it great. When you think about it, he was 1 for 7 from 2, 3 of 13. From the field against UConn. So this is a game I think Eric Dixon needed. I think it was probably a game where he said, listen, I know I'm tired, I'm going to be tired, but I just have to power through it.
For better or worse, the rest of the way, he's going to have to carry it.
Yeah, and it helps that he can have other guys around him help carry the load. I mean, Longino didn't have a great game, but you always have to respect him on the floor. He's still, you know, he and Dixon still are going to play the most minutes. Both of them about 34 minutes already in this game. So if his guys are playing well around him, it frees him up. And now the defense can't dial in like I think Marquette was expecting to do. I don't think they were expecting Brickus to go off in that first half like he did. Yeah. Or Dumont, guys that they probably don't scout very, no disrespect, but you just don't scout a freshman that plays about 7 minutes a game. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. And that would be the hope for Villanova, is they can, you know, first of all retain and then grow these younger guys, as had been the case for many years here. There is still life yet in this Villanova season. Got to salt away the final 3:30 here as Dixon is rejected by Hamilton. Norman feeding Owens, and he goes through the double. He's unable to score on the rebound for Brickus, who's just had a marvelous night.
And again, the impressive thing, it's just an impressive young man. Cam Jones is up clapping. He's on the bench cheering his team. Their entire bench is clapping, but Cam Jones is standing up cheering his team on, down 16.
Yeah.
Under 3 to play.
I don't think there's any doubt how connected this Marquette team is, how tight they are. Late in the shot clock, Brickus off the mark. But yeah, just peering over the Marquette bench, like I said, I mean, Cam Jones still in uniform, doesn't have his warm-up kit on.
He's standing up like Shaka Smart over there. Look at it, you can see him halfway down the bench there.
Norman baseline, that's a tie-up.
But what an impressive start, really, and finish by Villanova. You know, a team that you feel at times you're running out of time. The Big East tournament helps. You can make a deep run there, but you can see what they're capable of, and I'm sure Kyle Neptune is telling them that, even in the losses when they were up. Just have to sustain it, and they really sustained it. They played a 38-minute game up to this point. And most of those games, they played 30 good minutes, and that's it.
Yeah.
They need Kyle Lowry at more games, maybe.
Maybe that's
good luck charm.
Good luck charm. Front row. There's their remaining schedule.
And you have to pay attention. You know, I think the last two, they'll definitely get your attention, but when you see what Providence did to Villanova, when you see what Georgetown did without Sorber,
yeah,
you know, you put up some 90 points without one of the best freshmen in the country. It makes people aware, and obviously the last two won't be hard to get up for, but you got to pay attention down the stretch. Villanova's in the same boat.
Marquette, of course, a couple of years ago, regular season and tournament champions. Shaka Smart, the 2023 Big East Coach of the Year.
Always so gracious with his time. Talked to him for a long time and shoot around today. Thoughtful conversations.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, there's no coach speak with him. It's just a wonderful human being, and not just a great coach. Shaka Smart, just a wonderful human.
Very steady hand for this program. Under 2 minutes to play. And what's going to be a massive win to add to Villanova's resume.
Ooh, good move.
Yeah, he's had a couple of those tonight. The footwork has been remarkable.
The handling, and Lowry's a terrific defender, but boy, that is a tough handle there.
Marquette has won 8 in a row head-to-head against Villanova. Kyle Neptune at the helm for 6 of those. Seton Hall coming up. Butler, and then one more chance to add to the resume before the Big East tournament with another game against a struggling UConn team.
You got to pay attention. Well, you can't play teams for their record. I think UConn found that out against Seton Hall in Newark not too long ago. So you just have to go out and play your game. You got to play basketball. Don't assume that you're coming out of there with a win because your record's better. Not in this conference.
Now this is a huge bounce back for the Wildcats. They're led by as many as 23 here tonight. Largest deficit of any kind that Marquette's faced. Lowry continues to pour it in. The sophomore with a career high 25, obliterating the previous mark of 12. Only averaged about 4 points per game coming in. Whoa, Prickus. Don't do it to him. Not this late.
Yeah. Jameer Brickus was just on a different level all game long. All game long. And you see there with the handle, the heads-up play, to throw that behind his back and to keep it alive.
What a night for Lowry. A little discomfort with his shoulder there, but what a stud he is going to be for Marquette, whose largest margin of defeat coming in was 11.
Not that. There we go. 21 points for Jameer Brickus. We mentioned it. 20 combined points his last 5 games.
Right.
That's how you come back. Again, you show, you're showing your coaches what you're capable of.
One off a season high. It's one of those nights where things click from the get-go for Villanova. Hamilton, nice move against Boakye. Couldn't finish it off, and Dixon pulls down a late rebound in the final minute. And they rise to their feet at Wells Fargo Center. As much of a must-win game as you could get at this point of the season. And Villanova delivered on one tonight.
It was a statement. It really was. You know, and I know fans are going to look back and say, oh, if we could have beaten UConn, if we could have beaten. But you just have to go forward from here and use this as an example the rest of the way if you're Villanova.
Hustle play even with the game in hand. And maybe that encapsulates the night for Villanova. A statement upset over number 16 Marquette. Villanova snaps an 8-game losing streak head-to-head against the Golden Eagles. And they move back above 500 in conference play.
Statement game, if you think about it, for Villanova, only probably to their locker room. Again, it's Kyle Neptune. Probably felt really empty after the last couple losses. Well, this is how you redeem yourself, and it's a great example for them moving forward and who they can be the rest of this season.
So Villanova now a half game back of Xavier for 5th place in the Big East, and a huge win to improve their at-large candidacy, which still has a heartbeat here as they knock off number 16 Marquette by a 15-point margin. 81-66 the final. Coming up next, PPA Tour Mesa Cup quarterfinals. For Donnie Marshall, our producer, Chirag Devskar, Andy Kavanaugh, our director, and our entire Fox Sports production crew. This is Alex Faust. Thank you for watching Big East basketball on FS1.